Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and I hope that you are doing super duper fantastic. And you know, I'm on X. Okay, I'm on X. I like X because it's something we can all interact and all that on the fly, share things. Just it's nice for that kind of thing. So I'm on there. And so if you want to find me on there, that'd be great. That would be fantastic, actually. You can find me at Matt Stevens MSA. However, so I follow a guy, I can't even think of who it is right now. He does a lot of metaphysical type of things. And he shares the Schumann Resonance a lot. Now, the Schumann Resonance is the vibration of the earth, the frequency, I guess, of the planet Earth. And it is affected a lot by, like, by the sun. You know, for example, if there is a some kind of burst, you know, like solar flash, things like that, some kind of burst of energy from the sun, and it comes towards the earth and it hits the earth, it affects the Schumann resonance. And if you watch the Schumann resonance, you can see that it usually keeps a baseline. And of course, I don't have the video graphics to share on screen yet. I'm getting there, loved one. I promise. I will. No, it won't be long. You'll see. You'll tune into one of my videos and you'll see all kinds of stuff on there besides just what you see right now. But anyway, so the Schumann resonance, yes, it follows a baseline. But when it's affected by like a solar flare or some kind of burst of energy from the sun or cosmic rays, things like that, just anything to do with that. And then other things that happen within the earth can also affect it. But anyway, he was referring to a solar flare, and it hitting the earth and causing the resonance to kind of go crazy for a while. And it'll happen for hours, sometimes a day or so at a time. And he was saying how he was complaining, saying that, well, I can't sleep. It's affecting me in such a negative way. Saying, this Schumann resonance going crazy, going haywire, is affecting me in a negative way, and I can't sleep. I can't focus, and just things like that. And I guess I get where he's going. What he means is that he is trying to stay in tune with things, and when it goes haywire, he also goes haywire. And I'm like, well, but if you focused on raising your vibration, your entire being's vibration to that of, say, the sun, or even to where it would match that of the Schumann resonance, where it could fluctuate with it. And then it wouldn't bother you as much. And in fact, if you were to do that, then you could be on the same frequency as the sun or the Schumann resonance. And that way, when things like that happen, for one, it wouldn't bother you in such a way, but it also would enable you to possibly receive downloads. Possibly what they say, light codes, things like that. You see, I'm one that believes that the sun is far more than just a burning ball of hydrogen out there in the ether. I just am, okay? I believe that it plays a much greater role in our lives and just existence in the solar system, And so therefore I kind of chimed in and I said, hey, maybe if you focused on getting your vibration up to match that, it wouldn't bother you so much, and you may be even able to benefit from some downloads. Just a thought. I mean, maybe I'm off. I don't know, but I don't think so. Anyway, loved ones, real quick, if you have not yet, please give this video a thumbs up. I would appreciate it if you would do that. And also subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so. But speaking of the sun and the solar system and planet Earth and all that, and then whenever I do talk about the nature of reality and is it possibly I absolutely believe it's holographic in nature. But is it a simulation or is it some kind of matrix, be it doesn't necessarily have to be a computer. It could be divine matrix. It can be just mind imagining all of these things. But, and I know I talk about that a lot, but that's not what I'm getting into right now. What I'm getting into right now is with regards to our planet and whether or not you think it's a ball, okay, or if you think it's a flat plane, if you think it's a flat disc, if you think it's a square, whatever, it doesn't really matter, because it's going to show you whatever it is that you expect to see. And that, what I mean by that is, when we go and we look for things, have you ever noticed, if you look for something long enough or specifically enough, you tend to find it. It's like when we look out into space with telescopes or whatever, and we find things that we've never seen before. It's not very often that we see something we really didn't expect. And while that does happen, and in fact, they have very recently found a star they think may be a star. They don't know. They're like, could this be a new class of star? Whatever. I'm not really hip to the game on that enough to talk about that yet. I just wanted to mention it because it's not saying that we never find things that we don't expect. But that brings in the greater picture of, is the entire universe conscious? In other words, it's not solely based on our expectations, meaning humans on Earth. It's not just our expectations of what we're going to see. It could be the expectation of other conscious entities within the universe on some level. Maybe in the physical plane, maybe not. Anyway, again, that's really not what I was wanting to talk about, dear loved one. I love to get all sidetracked. But anyway, so this realm that we live in, is it a ball? And I realize the flat earthers, they make a ridiculous claim. Listen, I'm not necessarily going to completely disagree with flat earthers, okay? I'm not. But their argument when they say, oh yeah, we're living on a ball, just hurtling through space at such and such miles an hour and blah, 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 and all this. And then they make the ridiculous claim, well, why don't we fly off? And I'm like, for the same reason why you don't fly out of an airplane that's going 500 miles an hour. For the same reason why you can stand in an airplane and jump up in the air and land, even though you're only in the air for half a second maybe, and still land in the same place you jumped from, even though the plane is moving 500 miles an hour. It seems as if the plane would go ahead of you a little bit, right? By that logic. But it's an enclosed and encapsulated environment. That's why that's why when you jump in an airplane, you land in the same place you jumped up from. And that's also why people don't fly off the planet as it's hurtling through space, blah, 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 whatever. You see, I don't believe that hurtling through space part either, right? I believe you're going to see whatever it is that you expect to see. That's why flat earthers find all kinds of evidence to support their claims. And heliocentric, that's the ball Earth, they find evidence to support their claims because it's what they're looking for and it's what they're going to find. Here's what I've come to, I don't want to say expect, here's what I have come to be true for me, that we do live on what would appear to be a flat plane. Everything is measured as though we are. And I'm not talking about just in feet and even miles. I'm talking about in very long distances. Everything is measured as though we are on a flat plane. But you see, there's another option. Those are all that stuff with flat earth and heliocentric earth and all that. That's based on a purely physical model. By going with that, that means that they believe in pure materialist physicality. They don't leave any room for holographic theory. They don't leave any room for simulation. None of that. So it's like, what is? So I'm saying that you're going to find whatever it is you expect. However, I do believe that there has to be, or there should be, some kind of boundary. Now, is that boundary what we would call our atmosphere? Sorry, got a little lost there for a second. Is that boundary what we would call our atmosphere? Or let's go a little further out. Maybe that boundary is what we would call the Van Allen radiation belt, which is that those bands of radiation that kind of encapsulate the Earth. And some people say that's why we can't get outside of, say, low Earth orbit. We can get a little bit outside of the atmosphere, but we can't really get we can't get into that really high orbit because of the Van Allen radiation belts. I mean, even NASA, that spokesman, when asked, well, we could go to the moon back in the 60s and 70s, why can't we go now? What's the problem? Now you're saying there's a problem with the Van Allen radiation belts, but there wasn't one then. And his answer was ridiculous. His answer was, well, we used to have that technology then, but we've lost it. It's like, you're NASA. You don't lose technology. That's absurd. It is absolutely absurd. Either you never could get outside of the Van Allen radiation belts, which would say that the moon landings was a hoax. I mean, I'm not going to go there. I mean, I'm not saying I won't, but I'm not going there now. Or you're lying. You didn't lose the technology. You do have the technology. You just don't want the public knowing it. Okay. Well, anyway, so there's the possibility that maybe the Van Allen radiation belt is that boundary that threshold we can't break. And then there is the oh God, what is it? There's the Oort Cloud, which is, or the Kuiper Belt, I guess would be sooner. The Kuiper Belt is a band of asteroids and ice and rocks and comets and all of that stuff that is outside of the kind of rings around the entire solar system. Could that be a boundary? But then there's the Oort Cloud. And the Oort Cloud is a cloud of rocks, debris, dust, ice, comets, and what's the dwarf planets, really small planets. They're still planets, but they're very small. And the Oort Cloud is a cloud. It's almost as if you imagine a ball. That would be the Oort Cloud. And inside of it would be the disk of the solar system. Which again, and there's another fascinating thing, the disk of the solar system. There's the sun in the middle, and then you have all the planets pretty much lined up on a flat plane. It's as if they were on a plane, all orbiting. Because what I mean is you don't have Mercury going this way and Venus going that way and Earth going that way. It's not like that. All of them go in they stay on a flat disk plane, which is fascinating. And I do believe that does indicate something. And I do believe that, and what that something is, I mean, I've definitely got my theories, but we're not going to get into that right now. And outside of that is that Kuiper Belt and the Oort Cloud. And that Oort Cloud would be like the ball with the solar system in the middle somewhere. Could that be the boundary? Would that be what we would say, everything inside this is simulation? See, a lot of people believe that the atmosphere would be our boundary. And that everything outside of that, when we look at the night sky, everything we see is a hologram or some kind of illusory. And I realize that, yes, I believe that everything is ultimately illusory. Everything is ultimately an illusion. So when we think of out there, so let's go air quotes here. When we go out there, what do you mean out there in this reality, in this realm? Or do you mean out there, like literally out there, like outside of this matrix? Because there are many out there's, right? Ultimately, the out there is in the quantum field where the creator exists, where the creator creates from, and we can go there in mind. I've been there. And yes, and I know that in months ago I was wanting to do a guided meditation here on the channel of the void meditation where we do go into that field, and I still intend to do that. I just haven't yet, that's all. So anyway, dear loved ones, what are your thoughts? Do you think that there is a boundary to our realm? See, a lot of people would lead you to believe that, well, there is no boundary. It just goes and goes, right? The universe just goes on forever. And if we had the means of going there, we would be able to go there. But it's like, well, yeah, maybe. I got to believe there's some boundary. I'm not saying that that's the end of everything. I'm just saying that that is the boundary of where we exist, what we call the realm, this matrix that we exist in. So anyway, loved ones, if you would please, in the comments or wherever, however you want to, let me know what you think of that. In fact, that sounds like a good topic for a live stream, something we could bring some people in and get some opinions and things. I would love to hear what other people think of it. So, yes, please do that. Anyway, loved ones, as I mentioned earlier, I am on X. I saw the guy complaining about the Schumann Resonance. I am on there quite often. I do share things a lot on there, so if you want to interact and things like that on, in real time, kind of on the fly, you can find me on X. It's Matt Stevens, MSA. And besides that, loved ones, that's what I got. I do love you. I do. And I'll be back directly.